So we're gonna have this shitty setup. It's not optimal, but whatever. Welcome back, everybody. It's been, I think, almost a year, 8 months since I did the last webinar, but I'm coming back refreshed with more knowledge, with more value to bring it all back to you guys. Today I'm gonna show you basically how to identify if you are overspending your PPC budget on branded sales, branded search. As you know, if you are spending a big percent of your ad spend on branded searches, branded keywords, you are probably cannibalizing sales. And I'm developed a calculator to just show you that, how to basically identify if where your budget is going, it's actually worth, or you should pull back and maybe reinvest, reallocate it to keywords that will actually drive you incremental revenue. So here's how you need to basically identify. So I've outlined step by step, but I'm gonna show you in this video how to basically use this calculator to find out if you're cannibalizing sales. All right, first thing we need to do is basically go to the Amazon Search Central. So log into your account. Then from here, you need to click on the drop-down menu. This will pop up. And from there on, you need to head over to Brand Analytics. So click here and then go to Search Analytics, click on Search Query Performance. So now we have this data. Here's where we're gonna gather the reports and then pull them in to the Excel sheet that I'm gonna share with you later. So you need to pick the reporting range. So I suggest you to go for a weekly, and then you need to extract this for the last week. So select the week and click apply, and just click on get generate download. This will pull up. So let's wait for this report to gather. And also what we need to do is actually compare two different periods. So once we pull this out for the last week, then we need to pick the prior period to this current period, so prior week, and then click apply, and then generate download for this one as well. So let's wait for all these reports to stitch together, and then we'll be able to pull it all, import it into the calculator. Let's continue. So yeah, once you have the reports, you downloaded them, pull them from the Search Central, Search Query Performance data. Basically, you can then download this. So let's do that. Okay, and once we have all these reports ready, we need to come back here to the branded cannibalization calculator. And now I'm gonna show you the steps, how to basically find out to what percent your sales are cannibalized. So first, we're gonna basically take the report, go to file, then click on report. And what you need to do is make sure that you select the red highlighted cell. So make sure that it's active. And then from there on, you need to just go to import, click on upload, and then you can drag the previous period. So drag first the older period. So take this report and drag it here. Okay, it's gonna take a bit of time. And import location, you need to just select replace data, select cell, import data, and boom, it's done. Okay, next step, you will have to enter your branded term. So what you can do is actually use this symbol to separate brand variants. So for example, if you have multiple brand variations, how customers are searching up on Amazon to find your products, you can include different variants. But in this case, I'm just gonna stick to one version, which is gonna be Eddington. I'm just showing this for my client. So I'm gonna enter the brand term, and that's it. Now we need to move to the next period, which is SQP after. This is another sheet. So this sheet is basically, this calculator is designed to help you compare how the impression share percentage has changed over time and how it's basically changing and fluctuating across two different periods. And this will help you identify and kind of get a pulse on, whether you're cannibalizing sales or they keep constant. So once we go here, now we need to, again, repeat the same process and import the other period for the different period. We need to import the other report for a different period. So we repeat the same process, take this file, drag it here, and boom, it's done. Previous data, and select the cell, and that's it. Now we have all this data prepared. The next step, we need to just apply this filter and only zero in, filter down to branded terms. So you can come here and basically, okay, I'm gonna enter my name, I missed the step, and I was gonna show you and map out these rows and assign them to branded or non-branded. So you want to only filter down to branded terms because these are like, what terms are important for this exercise, for this analysis. So yeah, you filter down, apply this filter. Then what you can do is actually select this cell, click Shift, Command, and down arrow key on your keyboard, copy all these rows, all these branded terms, and then move to the branded comparison sheet. This is a final sheet where it's gonna actually spit out the results for you and show you this data.
And here you just need to paste all copied branded queries. So let's click Command and V, and that's it. And the last step, you apply the filter. And because we want to only focus on the most impactful terms, we're gonna sort this to the descending order by search volume. So let's come here, sort Z to A, done. Now we can go to the right-hand side, and we're gonna see the impression share before the period, and then brand impression share after. So this is showing you how it's changing for these both periods that we're looking at, week over week. And this is where I would like to bring your attention. So you see this column, it's a delta brand impression share. So this basically shows you what's the difference of impression share change between different periods. If you see that it's a minus percentage, that means we are probably not cannibalizing sales, but we are losing impressions on our brand impression. So let's say I made bid adjustments on the first period, and then I wanted to kind of gauge how the impression share has changed on this second period later, once we made those adjustments. If we see that the impression share has shrunk from the period prior, that probably points that we are not cannibalizing sales. But if the impression share after dropping bids on our most important keywords has remained the same, it probably points to cannibalization. So this is how we can kind of use this data and use these insights to make decisions on your ad strategy and refine bids. Maybe you need to bring them back if you see that you're losing impression share, or you can remain those reduced bids without actually any negative effect on your sales. Because if you see that this is likely cannibalization, then you are probably just wasting your ad spend, and you could distribute this budget to keywords where it's gonna contribute to more incremental revenue, right? And this sheet is basically designed to show you. So the formula is checking for whether the impression share after period has shrunk by more than 5%. So if that's the case, then it's gonna return, the formula is gonna return the value as likely cannibalization. So let me explain this. If you made bid adjustments in the before period, right, and you pulled back bids specifically on those branded terms, and the branded share has only reduced by, let's say, 4%, less than 5%. And let me adjust these numbers, for example. So if I change this to 42%, in this case, it's gonna say that this is mixed. Or let me actually go to another one. Okay, so let's say I adjust this so that the brand impression share after the period is less than, let's say, 5% difference. So let me go and move this to 48%. It's still gonna show you that this is not cannibalized. The reason why is because we want to allow 5% room for tolerance, and it needs to be meaningful and significant difference to treat this and basically interpret this as cannibalization. So if it's like less, actually more than 5%, in that case, it will be that this is not cannibalized now, it's showing you. But if it's less than 5%.
Okay guys, so I was kind of going behind the scenes and reworking the formula. Now it's all fixed, it's all solved. So let me illustrate this with a real example. So you see brand impression share before the period was 50%. And now I adjusted this to make only a difference, show less than 5% in reduction compared to the previous period for the period we're checking after. Now, if I adjust this to 42%, now it's showing you that the impression share, the change, the fluctuation in the impression share was too aggressive, too significant, that we are probably spending money on advertising, and it's worth to spend those dollars on advertising because they're actually allowing us to remain and maintain our brand impression share. So now if this would be, let's say, a case for 50%, you would see that this is, again, likely cannibalization, and it's still showing minus difference. But let's say the impression share might also, in some cases, when you reduce bids, when you pull them down, the impression share might even go up for some cases. But in that case, it's still gonna return you the value, likely cannibalization, which means that you're probably overspending, overbidding on those branded terms. So you need to pull back and redistribute your budget to category terms, which will allow you to generate more incremental sales. So that's how it's working. Keep in mind that there will be some anomalies. So what I mean by that is that some random terms might sneak into the data that don't have any association or relation to your brand name. So for example, you can see this is a clear and great example, Masterpieces by Alec. And you can see that the data is also missing because it's not related to our products in any sense. So we can just take this row and remove it. So if you also notice any inconsistencies or random terms that just appeared out of nowhere in this data set, you can remove it because it's not relevant to your branded terms and your product. And now we have a clean sheet. So also I was kind of prefaced before that you want to only focus on the most impactful terms. You can sort this by search volume, so they are generating the highest demand for your products and for your brand. So any differences in these branded terms would be detrimental to your business. So this is why we focus on those first, and then we can go very granularly and check each one by one term. And yeah, that's how we use the sheet. Also, I want to illustrate this now with a more clear example. So what I'm gonna do is go and dive deep into one of our client accounts, and I'm gonna show you how you can interpret this data a bit more with example. So let's go to one of our advertising accounts. I'm gonna go to the campaign manager. Okay guys, so I'm now gonna show for just the month of December to illustrate this example more clearly with real world data, like how it's all changing inside the advertising console. So yeah, for this brand, we spent almost 50K in spend and generated
almost 140K in total sales. So this is just for, you know, ad spend data. So these are ad sales. But let's go to one of our defense campaigns that we're running for this account, and then we're gonna kind of zoom in and dig deeper a little bit. So for example, this campaign we have running, it's spending the most money. And now I'm gonna kind of reference and cross-check this data inside the advertising, like console, what we are advertising and what keywords we are targeting inside our branded defense campaign with the data that we pulled into the calculator. So we can sort this by spend again. And right here we have Ellington found spend, and this is like spent so far, like for this month actually, almost like over $2,000. And you know, the data is pretty good, below 10% equals, but let's take this term. And let's imagine this scenario. I pulled down on this, reduced them from, let's say, $5 to just $1. So of course the adjustment needs to be lower than your CPC so that it would be impactful, and actually the decrease would have some impact on your account. So if I pulled down those bits and then, you know, I waited for another period, for another 7 weeks, when the data was, you know, kind of generating for another period of impression share report, then I can see if my impression share has changed. Let's say it shrunk by more than 5% for the same search term that I was looking and made the adjustment for on the ad side, then I know that the ad spend is actually worth to fuel it further. But if I see that the impression share percentage remained the same, about the same, or it's only reduced by less than 5%, then I know that probably that extra dollars that I'm pumping into brand defense campaigns, they're not worth, right? So that's how you can kind of think about this process and pick up my brain, how I'm thinking. And yeah, just use it for your own brand. You can definitely do this. All you need to do is just have 2 different periods, like period reports from search query performance, and yeah, you pull it into this calculator and then sort the data, remove any unrelated terms, and then look at how the impression share is fluctuating over time. And that's gonna give you like a idea of whether I'm cannibalizing sales or the extra spend that I am kind of allocating towards branded searches and branded keywords is actually worth it, and it's doing a good job for my brand. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, leave the thumbs up, and I'll be uploading more content, showing more strategies and tips on how you can actually make the most out of your advertising spend. So stay tuned for that, and peace.